Yeah, I mentioned this to you because I know grime music had a big, it was a big inspiration
It
for you.
was, yeah, for the early Sleaford stuff. It was really, you know, when me and Andrew first got together, I was obsessed with watching videos of little Nottingham
Lord of the
street
Mics.
gangs. Yeah, or little Nottingham street gangs. You know, you know, one of them had a little beat coming through his phone, and then you get these other lads just spitting over it, and it was I was obsessed with it. It was like this is brilliant. You
I had
know.
a conversation with somebody about, like, I was asking them why early grime music sounded the way it did, and they told me that it was made purposely with less of a low end and more of a high end because it would sound better on a Sony Ericsson.
Yeah, there's that because you know a lot of these people were just listening to it through such things. So you know they didn't have the luxury of big speakers. You know what I mean? Which is brilliant. You know, in some respects, it's not a million miles away from skiffle, is it? You know what I mean? It's just the bare bones. You know what I mean? So yeah, I was really taken with it.
What is it about like rap music and hip hop music that made you find your voice?
Just the absolute coarseness of it and the kind of just punky, didn't care for the consequences of what people might think of it, you know. I think the one, I was always into it, but it was always very much hip hop. It was like, yeah, I can't do that. I love it, but I can't do it, you know. It was always very slick as well, until I started listening to the Wu-Tang's first album,
Mm-hmm.
which it's not slick. It's like it's anything but, and it's desperate. It's chaotic. It's insular. It's it's just absolutely forward thinking. There's not a lot of rhyming, and yet there is. You know, it's more. If you listen to it closely, they're just shouting, and that's really what got me. You know what I mean? They're just shouting. It's like
I
and
get that. I get that.
yeah, and the little skits in between the songs were fucking just as good as the songs, you know. Where he's coming in and talking about a shooting two doors down, and you know, half of them are listening, the other half are bothered about what this certain person owes them. You know what I mean? Where's my money? Or where's my tape I gave you? Blah blah blah, and it's just fucking brilliant. And although I'm a million miles away from that, you related to it. Do you know what I mean?
There's something structureless about those songs that I quite like. Like the more aggressive a song is, the less of a structure I feel like it should have. That the structure should be lost in the chaos of the track.
I think so. I think so. And
You have that. You guys have
yeah,
that a lot.
sorry.
You guys have that a lot. Like sometimes you'll do
Yeah,
structureless tracks.
but what pulls it together is a chorus. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you know, it's kind of age old. It's like old poems. You know, where like a town crier, uh, some of these European oldie worldy folk poems that are just completely fucking random. And then, but what joins it together is the person saying it will repeat one of the lines twice, and that to me it acts as an intro, as a chorus, and as an end. You know what I mean? So it kind of gels the thing. It's a bit like egg yolk. It kind of marries it together. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. Like I never, I wasn't on like your stuff before 2012, 2013, because I know you put out 4 records before you started working with Andrew. I think,
Yeah.
am I right? That was with something called
Yeah.
Saf?
Parth.
Parf. I've got it.
Simon Parthman. Yeah, sorry, yeah. He's got a bit of an
Sorry,
odd
Parf.
name. Yeah. He's got a bit of an odd name. He's got an odd face as well, actually.
What were those early albums like?
Yeah, I mean, it was just me trying to, you know, just ripping off what I learned from hip hop, which was just trying to get samples, but we didn't know how to sample, so I would just loop things.
Yeah.
And I would loop favorite bits of records and just shout over those, and that's how it all started, really.
Sounds like the birth of hip hop there.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Basically the same thing.
Yeah, but well, basically, I mean, I was listening to more sort of late mid '90s period where it was like they'd nick a drum beat and then put stuff over it. So you're like, oh fuck, how did they do that? And it's like, you know, I mean, Parth was good at engineering, recording stuff, recording vocals. He was quite a technical wizard, but he didn't know how to sample. I don't think he could be bothered, to be honest. And he wasn't interested in writing anything organic, anything new, original. So I just had to come up with the ideas, and he would just record it for me. You know what I
So
mean?
you were basically the engine, and you needed somebody to help steer it that way, and that's where Andy.
Yeah, basically. And I think a lot of them work like that. I mean, you know, Weatherall, God bless him, used to work like that. He had somebody that could do the engineering of things, and he would just sit there and dictate the ideas. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I think like when you're, I don't know, some people see that and they'll be like going, "Oh, that's not the way you should do it." But like, actually, the older I'm getting, the more I'm looking into producers. People like David Holmes.
David, I was just about to say David Owens.
Example.
He's exactly the same. Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't play too much, but like, my God, like,
No.
is he a conductor? Like, he can make
Yes,
shit
this
happen.
is it. He brings the ideas, and you could put it to sort of like clothes as well, like Paul Smith, you know.
Hmm.
Or I mean, I know he had a lot of tailoring experience, but generally, he'll just go up to a load of people that can do that and just say, right, can you do this, that, and the other? You know, people bring the ideas, and there's other people that have got the ability to work the apparatus. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like I know where I want to, like, if I was gonna use a toilet as an example there, and I thought against it. I was just, I know where I want the toilet to be in the room, but I'm not the one to do it. Maybe I'll leave you to the metaphors and similes. How about that? The first song I heard of you guys was "Tied Up in Knots," and I remember hearing it for the first time, and I remember absolutely losing my mind. And I haven't had that feeling too many times since, like with something that like really grabs you, like in a really aggressive manner, where you just come out, like I come out wide eyed afterwards, going, "This is fucking amazing." It did actually happen to me recently with an artist called Bob Villain.
Oh, I've heard of them.
Yeah, I heard a track last week, and I had that, and it hasn't happened to me since a band called Touts that I listened to as well.
Okay,
Punk
okay,
band.
yeah, I've heard of Tarts as well, actually.
Yeah, well, the thing is, I do a chiller show on Radio 1, but I absolutely love aggressive like punk music and stuff like that. But the thing that like I remember about that song is I remember bringing it to my producer, going, "We're playing this tonight." And my producer was like, "No, we're not, because X, Y, and Z," because it had the word cunt in it. It had like a load of fucks in it. I was like, so they were like, "Well, we could edit it out," and I was like, "We can't edit it out because it'll ruin the song."
Yeah,
So I remember my exec editor, it was their first day, so I like walked up to him with the track, going, "Can you clear this for me so I can play tonight?" And he was just like, "Are you testing me?" Like he still he said, I remember he looked at me and just said, took his headphones off and just said, "The smell of piss is so strong, it smells like decent bacon." Do you really think we could play that in Radio 1? I was like, "Well, John Peel would have played it." And they were like, "Okay, well, I'll tell you what, you can play it, but just take the cunts out."
That's brilliant. Because who was the boss of Radio 1 then? It was George.
It was George. Yeah, that didn't go to George. It didn't go as far up the line to George. Like, it was more nighttime. It was like our sort of evening editor. But fair play to them. Like, they were just like, "Yeah, go ahead, just take the C word out."
He got in touch with me, George did, and he said, "Look, we'd love to play more of your stuff, but we just can't because of the content. I'm really sorry." And you just don't get that these days, do you? You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's good. Like I think like Radio 1 sometimes gets a bad rap, but like it does want to support good British music. Do you feel like kind of like vaguely responsible for what the sort of music that Six Music is putting out right now? Because there's a lot of angry men, but like you're with like angular guitars on Six Music right now, and sometimes I'm listening to it going, they listen to Sleaford Mods, they listen to a bit of Fat White Family.
Yeah, of course, yeah. I think I talked to Lewis from Fat White Family a lot, and he's, you know, yeah, we both sort of think, yeah, the evidence is quite clear, but doesn't make you feel any better about it sometimes. And it also, going back to the Wiley thing, it's like, although it's guitar bands, and we're obviously not a guitar band. I mean, Leas is a
Yeah.
guitar band, but you do feel like they're messing with the recipe and not giving it the full ingredients. You know what I mean? A lot of the time.
That has been something that's kind of irked you over the years. Like I've said, like, I mean, I love situations like this, and I know I shouldn't. Like, but I don't watch Coronation Street or EastEnders or any reality
Oh,
TV.
sure,
So
sure.
like I have to get my entertainment out of other places. So when bands start like sort of cracking off at each other, like I just buy some popcorn, sit back on Twitter, don't get involved, hit refresh. And I've like, I've seen you like go at Slaves and
Oh God,
Idols. I think they're like the two big ones in my head that I can remember the
yeah.
arguments from.
I learned my lesson about having a go at people online because I had a little Twitter thing with Blossoms, and that didn't work out too well. And so I thought, yeah, I'm not doing that again. You can never really do it properly online. But as regards Slaves, yeah, there was a little bit of commotion there, but they don't offend me anymore. But yeah, Idols do, yeah, definitely.
Do they still offend you?
Yeah, I don't think about them too much, but if I do, then yeah, it definitely offends me.
What is it like? What is it that winds you up about them?
I don't know. I think it's just I just don't believe him for a start. And there was a lot of detail in the first album that led me to believe that they were a street band, and it's quite clear that they weren't. I think on the the campaign for the second album, and he's talking about knowing people that work for Saatchi, and we've done this, and the way he talked as well, I just thought you sound like a fucking wanker, mate. And I felt a bit duped by it all. And then it became quite clear that my suspicions were correct. But it's a tough one. That kind of a mindset, it goes over a lot of people's heads because a lot of people just aren't bothered. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But
I
I
guess
felt that
because you make like music of a certain style and it comes from a real place, like maybe that it winds you up the other way. Like personally, one of my favorite band in the entire world is The Clash, and Joe Strummer came from a massively privileged family, and it like doesn't make the music any worse to me. So like it's things like this don't really wind me up that much, but they do other people. I know that, like, that's
sure,
fair.
sure. And yeah, I just think they are also a part of this whole new breed of tokenistic sort of, righteous, just full of little buzzwords, lots of imagery and brief association with stuff that would say that they are, right on band. You know what I mean? And I think that kind of thing's like that's been going through the timeline of music forever. And I just think that a band like that and all the bands associated with them are the today's version of that for me.